Welcome to the WIA National News and the Alara edition. WIA News is on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au.
Yes, this is the best news you'll get all week, and it comes from your WIA for week commencing August 20, 2023. This is the Alara presentation, which we do close to our birthday and the Alara contest each year. I'm Alara President, VK2AYL Michelle. Presenting the news with me this week will be Shirley, VK5YL, who will be covering the international desk, Leslie, VK5LOL, with the operational news covering contests and a look through the DX window, and Linda, VK7QP, who will handle special interest group news. But to start today's broadcast, WIA President Scott Williams, VK3KJ.
Hi there, and great to be appearing on the broadcast this week. Thank you to Alara President Michelle, VK2AYL, for the introduction, and it's wonderful to see Alara hosting the news broadcast this week. Thank you to all of those Alara members that are helping out this week in bringing the broadcast to you. I'll be quick today and just cover a few brief points. Firstly, thank you to all those operators that got on air last weekend as we commemorated the Remembrance Day contest. From what I understand, the bands were very active, and what a great way to remember those amateur radio operators that lost their lives serving our great nation. I was unfortunately away interstate with work commitments, but I did get a chance to log on to my SDR remotely and listen to some of the activities on the bands. Just a reminder that there are a range of WIA volunteer committee positions vacant at the moment, and we have been calling for active volunteers. This has been promoted on the website, through social media channels, in the AR magazine, and we are again calling for final nominations this week on the broadcast. The board will be meeting next week and will be appointing various representatives and announcing them the following week. Thank you to all of those people that have nominated so far. If you are interested in volunteering and helping the WIA, please email our national office. Finally, nominations are now open for WIA Merit Awards for 2023-2024. Nominations are open until the 31st of March 2024, and awards are then announced at the 2024 AGM, which will be held next year over the weekend of the 4th and 5th of May in Bundaberg. The WIA Merit Awards are the G.A. Taylor Medal, the Michael J. Owen Distinction Medal, WIA Honorary Life Membership, the Chris Jones Award, the Brenda Edmonds Award, the Ron Wilkinson Achievement Award, WIA Technical Excellence Awards, and then President's Commendation. Details of these awards and the nomination template can be found on the WIA website under WIA Awards. So if you believe there is someone that provides outstanding service and commitment to amateur radio, make sure you nominate them for an award, and let's recognise those individuals that contribute so much to our great hobby. In closing, a warm greetings to all those Australians that have headed to the Tokyo Ham Fair in Japan this weekend. Safe travels, and I have no doubt there might be some excess luggage charges coming back. On behalf of the board, thank you for supporting the WIA and best wishes to you all. And my thanks goes out once again to Alara for hosting the broadcast this week. This has been Scott Williams, WIA President, for this weekend's news.
This is the Alara edition of the WIA National News Service, originating from VK1WIA.
International News. I'm Shirley, VK5 Yankee Lima. Region 1. Quite often in the weekly WIA news, we make mention of the fantastic RSGB National Radio Centre at Bletchley Park. Well worth a visit. Would you like to encourage your family and friends to visit when you are on that overseas holiday? to find out more about amateur radio. RSGB have created a promotional video that gives a whistle-stop tour of all the fantastic things at the NRC in just 1 minute. A new arrangement between African Telecommunication Union and the International Amateur Radio Union is being hailed as a landmark agreement on the African continent. Praising ham radio for its responsiveness in a crisis, the Secretary-General of the African Telecommunications Union signed an agreement with the International Amateur Radio Union advocating for expanded use of ham radio during emergencies in African nations. Sylvain Azarian, Foxtrot 4 Golf Kilo Romeo, the president of IARU Region 1, said that the agreement would also have an impact on regulatory changes that are needed for amateur radio in Africa. Region 2. More from the ARRL on the proposed use of high-power digital transmissions in the shortwave band saw the ARRL laboratory perform detailed technical analysis over several months to determine if the proposed rules would affect operations on the bands allocated to radio amateurs that are intermixed with the Part 90 bands in the spectrum in question. ARRL's analysis determined that if the proposed rules are adopted, the new operations inevitably will cause significant harmful interference to many users of adjacent and nearby spectrum, including amateur radio licensees. Ed Hare, Whiskey 1 Radio Foxtrot, India, a 37-year veteran of the ARRL lab and internationally recognized expert on radio frequency interference, was the principal investigator on the study. Hare concluded the petition should not be granted. This petition seeks to put 50 kHz wide 20,000 watt signals immediately next to 7 different amateur bands with weaker protections against interference than required in other services, said W1RFI. NASA to conduct 5 experiments during the Great North American Solar Eclipse of 2024. This total solar eclipse gives scientists a unique opportunity to study the interaction between the Sun and Earth. On April the 8th, 2024, a total solar eclipse will completely darken skies across the United States as the Moon blocks the light of the Sun. The path of totality will be an average of 123 miles wide, running from northern New England to southwest Texas. The duration of totality will vary depending on viewer's location, with as many as 4.5 minutes in Texas. In addition to casting a breathtaking shadow over millions of people, this solar eclipse gives scientists a unique opportunity to study the Sun, Earth, and their interactions. Correspondingly, NASA will fund 5 interdisciplinary science projects for the eclipse. One of the experiments is a listening party for amateur radio operators. In the electrically charged ionosphere, which is in an upper region of our atmosphere, radio communications can travel long distances. However, when the Moon blocks the Sun during a solar eclipse, the ionosphere can change dramatically and affect those communications. During the 2024 solar eclipse QSO parties will occur, where radio operators are invited to make as many radio contacts as they can with other operators. The radio operators will record how strong the signals are and how far they go to observe how the ionosphere changes during the eclipse. Jean Moffat, Victor Echo 3 Whiskey Alpha Delta, turned 100 years old last Saturday, August the 12th. Happy birthday, Jean. She grew up in the Canadian province of Ontario, about 300 kilometres from Ottawa, moving to Toronto as a child with her family, hoping to study science and technology. Her dream of going to college wasn't possible as her parents only had money so her older brother could study. Jean then leaned towards the radio, a hobby she found very appealing, took the course and got her VE3WAD licence. For 4 decades, 2 days a week, Jean attended the Ontario Science Centre's amateur radio station, showing visitors how radio amateurs and Morse code work, and teaching the details of the phonetic alphabet and how this technology remains in force during emergencies. For this volunteer work for so many years, Jean Moffat was awarded in 2018 with the Sovereign Medal, the highest honour for voluntary service a person can receive within Canada's honours system. Jean, VE3WAD, dedicated much of her life to the airwaves. She was a very active radio fan who communicated with people from all over the world. She was able to send her signals to the satellites, spoke to people from the Arctic to the Antarctica, but Jean had a pending dream, being able to talk to an astronaut on the space station. At 96 years old, her dream came true. In 2020, the nonagenaria, along with a group of students from Toronto, were able to ask questions to Commander Luca Parmitano, Kilo Fox 5 Kilo Delta Papa, aboard the International Space Station. The activity took place from the Victor Echo 3 Oscar Sierra Charlie station on the Ontario Science Centre in Toronto. Region 3, India. The moon is go. In preparation to soft land on the moon, India's Chandrayaan-3 lunar lander has returned its first images from the moon after entering orbit around our nearest neighbour. The Indian Space Research Organisation released images showing that the spacecraft had reached its destination ahead of its lunar landing attempt expected this Wednesday, August the 23rd. When successful, India will join the United States, the former Soviet Union, and China as the only nations to perform a soft lunar landing. Thanks for listening. This is VK5 Yankee Lima in Adelaide, South Australia.
You're tuned to VK1WIA and the WIA National News Service on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au.
Ham radio operational news. It's a contact sport. I'm Leslie, VK5LOL. Now contest-wise. The Alara contest is next weekend, August the 26th to 27th. We hope to hear lots of ladies on the air. This contest runs from 0600 UTC, Saturday the 26th of August, to 0559, Sunday the 27th of August. Most of the ladies come up on air in the afternoon on 40 metres, followed by an evening session on 80 metres. Unfortunately, I will be away in sunny Townsville, but may be able to come up on Echolink for a short while. Let's surprise the OMs with an abundance of ladies on the air. Then in October, we have the Oceania DX contest. Contest dates, times. Phone, the first full weekend in October each year, 0600 UTC Saturday to 0600 UTC Sunday. CW, second full weekend in October from 0600 UTC Saturday to 0600 UTC Sunday. Log deadline for phone and CW logs, 31st of October. In November, we have the VH-UHF Spring Field Day, 25th to the 26th of November. 0100 UTC Saturday to 0059 UTC Sunday. But to make it a little fairer in VK6, they add 3 hours onto the start and end times. DX window. First we see through the window a whole bunch of special calls from right here in Australia. VK5's Amateur Radio Experimenters group are celebrating their 25th anniversary with the special event call sign VI25AREG, AREG. VI25AREG ceases operation at the end of this month, August. VI10 VKFF is running all year and celebrates the 10-year anniversary of the VKFF group. VK90 AR for Amateur Radio Magazine. October sees your WIA celebrating 90 years of continuous publishing of Amateur Radio Magazine, the official journal of the Wireless Institute of Australia. The WIA will be running the VK9TAR activity until December the 31st. Special Events Station VI100MB Mike Bravo all year celebrates the centenary of the Manly Warringah Radio Society. Korea, HL78V, V for Victor, through to the end of August. Members of the Korean Amateur Radio League's Chungbuk headquarters are on air marking the 78th anniversary of the liberation of Korea from Japan, QSL via 6K0MF. India. In celebration of India's 76th anniversary of independence, listen and work at 2CMN from Pollachi, Tamil Nadu, now until August 31st. QSL AT2CMN via VU2WDP. Franz, DJ at TP, is active as TK/DJ0TP from the main island of Corsica, EU014. Until the 3rd of September. QSL via the DJ0TP home call and use logbook of the world, LOTW. Mid-Atlantic. No later than November this year, 2023, the exact date to be confirmed by the Brazilian Navy, a team will leave the Brazilian coast and head to Ilha da Trindade, located in the Atlantic Ocean, about 1,200 km east of Espírito Santo, a state in southeastern Brazil. The objective is to carry out the activation of the 16th most wanted DXCC entity according to the current data from Club Log. The team will use the special call sign PR0T, which has already been requested from Anatel and is in the final phase awaiting confirmation. This has been Leslie, VK5LOL, from Aberfoyle Park, South Australia, for the WIA News.
Book Review. I'm Michelle, VK2AYL. Handbook 100, now available in softcover. The softcover edition of the ARRL Handbook for Radio Communications. Yes, the 100th edition of the ARRL Handbook for Radio Communications is the most extensively revised and expanded edition in recent years. Each chapter is filled with up-to-date knowledge representing radio amateurs' wide and ever-expanding range of interests. There are practical, hands-on projects for all skill levels, from simple accessories and small power supplies to amplifiers and high-gain antennas. The traditional softcover edition features the same piano finish black cover as the hardcover collector's edition and 6-volume paperback set. Probably the easiest place to purchase would be to search it at the ARRL website. Now let's look at some education news. Foundation courses at ARNSW. ARNSW Education Team advise their next foundation course and assessment weekend is scheduled for September 9th and 10th. Closing date for bookings is this weekend, as the assessment provider, AMC, requires 3 weeks' notice to get the assessment material out. The following assessment weekend is then scheduled for November, the weekend of the 11th and 12th, and is the last one planned for 2023.
You're tuned to VK1WIA and the WIA National News Service on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au.
I'm Linda, VK7QP, and we start Worldwide Special Interest Group News with Rescue Radio. The National Association for Amateur Radio in the USA, ARRL, has been closely following updates from the Hawaii Amateur Radio Emergency Service, Hawaii ARES, as amateur radio operators responded following those deadly wildfires on the Hawaiian island of Maui. Although not a designated frequency for rescue work, please refrain from using 7.088 MHz, as this is being used on the island for local communications. ARRL Section Manager Joseph Speroni reported that the ARRL Hawaii ARES website, hawaiiares.net, provides the latest emergency communication news. The website includes updates on Maui's amateur radio and communication infrastructure, including affected and operational radio systems, repeaters, and other emergency communication details. Closer to home, the next big event on the VK1WIA calendar is the Hawkesbury Canoe Classic, which helps raise money to fund bone marrow transfer research. WIA New South Wales provides safety communications for the events, and many operators are required to staff about 25 checkpoints along the 111-kilometre course from Windsor to Mooney Mooney. If you're new to this kind of thing, you can be paired up with a more experienced WIA operator. Why not give it a go? Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Astronomy. A group of amateur radio enthusiasts in the UK have developed a beacon that allows anyone to observe meteors as they burn through the Earth's atmosphere. The data collected is displayed on a live online feed, with meteors appearing as blue streaks that emit a ping followed by a trailing pitch. Receivers can be built affordably using materials from DIY stores. The aim is to encourage schools to set up their own receivers for STEM-related projects, promoting interest in radio engineering and astronomy among students. A comet shaped like the Millennium Falcon. Astronomers are monitoring a very unusual comet. A few days ago, Comet 12P Pons-Brooks explosively brightened, spewing plumes of debris into space that now resembles Han Solo's hunk-of-junk spaceship, the Millennium Falcon. No one knows for sure what happened, but it could be the eruption of an ice volcano on the comet's surface. As the Sun nears the peak of its current solar cycle, our star is growing increasingly active, and that peak may be occurring sooner than predicted, according to scientists. Initially, peak activity was forecast to begin in July 2025. Now experts believe the cyclical peak is more likely to take place in mid to late 2024. Worldwide Special Interest Group News, ATV. Peter, VK3BFG, is your WIA ATV representative. The annual Digital ATV QSO party is scheduled for Friday, August 25th, starting at around 9:30 UTC, with mainly VK stations, with Saturday morning afternoon on August 26th being our link with the USA. It will be there Friday night. Peter, VK3BFG, is the man to see to find out more. Worldwide Special Interest Group, Maritime, including ILLW News. International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend, ILLW, is here this weekend. Maybe not here in Australia, where WIA News was only advised of one VK activation. It is said to be one of the most popular amateur radio events in the worldwide calendar, and in the past years there have been over 500 entries from more than 40 different countries. The club, proud enough to let us all know this through WIA National News, the South Coast Amateur Radio Club, or SCARC. The club participates in this weekend's ILW event from Point Malcolm Lighthouse, AU0029, using the VK5 ARC portable call, and members congregated and set up the station in the Narang campground adjacent to the Narrows, where Lake Alexandrina and Lake Albert meet. A car ferry to get over lay in store, and a fantastic campground on the lake's edge, where they'll operate the station from Friday through to today, Sunday. Not only but also listen for TM0BSM, the call sign being used by a team of German operators on the air from the lighthouse at Berck-sur-Mer in France until tomorrow, Monday the 21st of August, which obviously includes the International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend. They are transmitting using CW, SSB and digital modes on the HF bands, QSL via LOTW only. W8GNM/8 will be QRV from Port Clinton Lighthouse during the ILLW weekend, which is also Port Clinton Lighthouse Festival, Ohio. Check web clusters for special frequencies, but typically 40-meter frequencies 7.200 or 7.235, and typical 20-meter frequencies 14.285 or 14.335. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Amateur Young Timers, YOTA, Youngsters on the Air. Students achieve Radio Surfer Awards. Thanks to Chris Leviston, M0KPW, 10 children at Arleth St Peter's ISP, C of E Primary School in Cumbria, have achieved their Radio Surfer Awards. Recently started an after-school club at ISP, and over the 5 weeks that it ran, the children enjoyed a range of amateur radio activities, leading to them each being presented with their certificates at the final assembly of the year. With a key part of the club being to pass greetings messages, the RSGB awards manager tweaked the scheme to allow a point to be awarded for this. The children were introduced to the phonetic alphabet, call signs from across Europe, QSL cards, and the basics of a dipole antenna. They practiced Morse code on oscillators and keys, as well as using PMRs. The 8 to 11-year-olds got to see their voices on the scope when Chris's ICOM IC705 was connected to a dummy load. Using his Yaesu FT857 running 75 watts with a SOTA-linked dipole for 20 and 40 metres, all the children passed greetings messages and accurately logged contacts. With excellent feedback from the children and school staff, plans are afoot for the club to run again next academic year. This has been Linda, VK7QP from Hobart, venue for Alara Meet in November.
You're tuned to the Alara edition of the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service through amateur radio station VK1WIA.
2023 Social Scene. Clubs are always welcome to submit text with audio for this section of the broadcast. Details of all WIA-affiliated clubs and societies can be found on the WIA website, including email addresses and website links. VK6, Northern Corridor Radio Group Hamfest, today, Sunday the 20th of August. VK4, Redcliffe Club Car Boot Sale, Saturday the 26th of August at Clubhouse Kipper Ring. VK4, Sunfest, September the 9th at Mountain Creek State School, just off the Sunshine Motorway. VK2, Sarkfest, out at Lismore, 8 a.m. Saturday the 23rd of September. VK, Alara Meet 2023, the 4th and 5th of November in Hobart, Tasmania. This is where we look forward to meeting old friends and seeing for the first time those we Alara members have only spoken to on the air. VK3, Rosebud Radio Fest at Eastbourne Primary School, Sunday, November the 12th. And VK5, Amateur Radio Experimenters Group Radio and Electronics Sale, November the 26th. Thank you for listening in to the broadcast today. This is Michelle, VK2AYL. Thank you also to Shirley, VK5YL, Leslie, VK5LOL, and Linda, VK7QP. For more information about Alara, please visit our website, www.alara.org.au. Here you can find out information about the Alara contest, Alara membership, our events such as Alara Meet in Tasmania, and also our grants for radio licenses. This is VK2AYL.
This has been the Alara edition of WIA National News. WIA News is on RF, text and streamed live from our hub on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.